And good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Under Center with Kirk Cousins. Mark Rosen, your host. And Kirk, I got to tell you, we've been doing this show for 6 weeks now, plus the preview show for the beginning of the season. If I walked into this room and I didn't know whether the Vikings won or lost, I couldn't tell by your demeanor. There's something very really steady about it.
Yeah.
And is that the way you always have conducted yourself, win or lose, up to the next up?
You know, it actually goes back to my years in college. I was a very emotional football player growing up, emotional athlete, and I really rode the roller coaster and was an intense competitor, but at times it would hurt me. And I talked to a psychiatrist actually at Michigan State who Nick Saban has used for years everywhere he's gone. He's actually counseled with his players at Alabama to this day, but he talked to me about playing quarterback like a CEO would lead a company. And so I try to have a very intense, passionate, but very consistent demeanor and approach. And I do like to have routine in the way I prepare. And so I can't let a win or a loss change that. Although emotionally, it does, eat at you one way if you lose or you're riding high after a win. I don't want it to change anything about the way I prepare. I always want to have that edge regardless. And so I've tried to stay consistent. I take it as a compliment that you've noticed. But sometimes I'm not perfect, but it is something I try to take seriously about the way I play the position. I think it provides consistency and enables you to win the long game and have a career, not just a quick flash of a season, but have a true career where you maintain production.
You called the game plan after Sunday's win, a very creative game plan. There's a lot that went into it, and we want to focus on one drive because that 24-3 lead quickly turned into a 24-20 lead, and you could sense the anxiety in the stadium a little bit. And the Vikings took the ball after a terrific play by Eric Kendricks, who will be one of our guests coming up here in a little bit. You started on your 25-yard line, and you went on a 75-yard drive, and there was not one third down that you had to complete on that drive. So if you can kind of take us through your mindset and under the huddle and under the center.
Well, Rudy said in the huddle before the drive started, he said, we have to get a touchdown here. Have to. And so we understood the goal, and it starts by getting the first down. And the play call that came in was a play action, and I loved the call. It was a call that I had kind of highlighted before the game and knew we were going to get it called at some point. We actually had it dialed earlier, and the defense jumped off sides, and so the play was blown dead. And so, to Kevin's credit, he came back to it in that moment, and that was the perfect moment for it. We needed it. Diggsy got open. Protection held up. I took an extra second hitch but had time to do it, and we made a great play. And that, I think, gave us some breathing room to kind of get out of our own territory and start to take the fight to them. And then to not have a third down on the drive was a big piece because it just took the pressure off us to keep attacking.
The unpredictability of that drive, I think, spoke volumes as well because you had a 2nd and 2 in your 46. Normal situation, hand the ball to Dalvin Cook or Madison, whoever's in the game. Instead, you go to your rookie receiver, Olabisi Johnson, for 16 yards, and that had to throw the Eagles' defense off a little bit.
Yeah, that drive was a microcosm of the game as a whole. I found that plays kept coming in that were unique and unpredictable, and yet I was so excited about each one. And I thought, yes, this is going to work. This is going to work. We're going to attack. I can see why he's calling this. And so there was an understanding of the game plan, but also a great job of keeping it off balance in a good way. And that was a great play action call. Again, pocket broke down a little bit, was able to get outside the pocket, and BC stayed on the move, created some separation, and I was able to kind of put it where we say ours or nobody's, and it was his. And he made a great catch and got his body down before he hit the sideline. So that was a huge play to just steal a chunk and continue to keep the momentum.
And that was, as it turned out, the longest play of that drive. He kept chipping away. He got it. Diggs ran around right in. Was that the play where he was going to throw the ball?
Yes, I believe right after that we called the trick play that we in practice, and it had drawn up pretty good, but we knew the defensive end, Brandon Graham, was the key. If he would go with Adam Thielen on the jet sweep or just not chase the receiver, we had a chance. But he, to his credit, he's a Pro Bowl player, chased Adam and then redirected and really made Diggsy have to become an athlete at that point and just make a play. And he did, which is, you got to see why Stefon Diggs is who he is with how quick twitch and elusive he was with the ball in his hands on that broken play.
When you watch him practice that play, does he have a pretty good arm? Can he make that throw?
We always doctor it up on the scout team, so we let him know, hey, let Diggsy throw it. Defensive end, let the quarterback block you. Don't, let's get a feel for this play. So every time he threw it in practice, he would hit it, and that was always fun. It was kind of a hold your breath moment when the ball left in the air. And it was funny in the locker room after the game. we called that play a certain name, and our owner, Mr. Wilf, came over and he said, boy, I was hoping that play was going to work, and he called it by name. And I said, how do you know the name of our plays? He said, I know more than you think.
Wow.
And he walked away. So even he knows our playbook. He's on top of it.
Well, again, the important thing is to get down to the 11-yard line. You don't want to settle for a field goal because that just gives you a one-touchdown lead. It'd then be 27-20. You want to get those 6 points. And as it turns out, you found Diggs for the touchdown.
Coach Zimmer will always emphasize to a fault that we have to get touchdowns in the red zone. We cannot settle for field goals. And he's right. It really does end up being a telling statistic at the end of the season. The good teams were teams that didn't kick field goals. They scored touchdowns. And we understood that in that moment, especially with how the Eagles' offense was coming on strong. And the Eagles were the number one red zone defense coming into the game. And so there was a heightened awareness to take advantage of our red zone opportunities with a respect for what we were going against and knowing we had to be that much sharper this week in order to convert in the red zone. And again, the touchdown pass to Diggs was one of my favorite plays in the game plan. I pushed for it this week, and Kevin, to his credit, dialed it up at the right time. We got the right coverage, and then Diggsy ran a great route. And I just can't say enough about the game plan our coaches put together with the variations of reverses, trick plays, screens, mix of dropbacks, play actions. It all worked, and then obviously the red zone double move to Adam, plays like that were just wrinkles that I think keeps the defense off balance.
Are you seeing the progression of this offense with the deep shots you took with Diggs, the ability of Dalvin Cook, that you are finding that rhythm right now that you've been looking for since the beginning of the season?
The deep shots helped, but we've had a few. We hit a big one to Adam Thielen at the start of the Raiders game. We missed one to Diggsy in the Packers game, but we also hit one to Diggsy in the Packers game on a post route for a touchdown. Adam we missed in the Bears game. So we've been calling these deep shots, a fair amount. We've had a steady diet of it throughout each week. It's just a matter of, do we hit them or not? Does the protection hold up or not? Do we have to check it down or not? And does coverage give it to us? And yesterday it was a combination of protection holding up, the throw being accurate, and the coverage dictating that we needed to go downtown.
And welcome back to Under Center with Kirk Cousins. And Kirk, we have two very special guests, guys who make your life a lot easier on the defensive side of the ball. So I'll let you do the introductions and kind of take us behind the curtain a little bit about the two guys who mean a lot to this Vikings football team.
Yeah, we're here with two of the best football players in our team, two of the best in the league, Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks, outstanding linebackers. Thanks so much for being on today, guys, taking the time.
Oh, yeah, no doubt, Kirk.
Thanks for having us.
After the game this past Sunday, I needed you guys in here. I do a lot of standing on the sidelines and pacing when the defense is on the field, and knowing those two are out there makes me feel a lot more comfortable. We go against each other in practice all offseason, and I'll just start by complimenting both of you, because when I was in the Redskins and we played you guys in 2016, Eric, you got hurt early in the game.
I was going to ask you if you remember that.
Yes.
We both ran into each
You
other,
ran into
though.
each other, so
Yeah,
I
thought
was
we
probably
both
going to
there.
throw an interception in
I thought I was
the
gonna
red
score.
zone.
Me too.
And they both go for the ball. I threw it directly between both of them. Both of them probably should have intercepted it. But because they both did, they ran into each other, and Barr won that battle. And Eric was out the rest of the game. And so it ended up being one of the better plays I made, because Eric wasn't
Knocked
in the
him out of
rest
the
of the
game.
game. Right.
Strategic.
And then I came to learn in 2017 how good Eric Kendricks really is, since I didn't have to play against him the first time. He was all over the field. And then whenever we played the Vikings, going back to 2014, we always said, send the protection to number 55, because you do not want your running back blocking number 55 in protection. And so when I got here, I've kind of had the same approach. And the coaches have said, well, in practice, let's not scout our defense. Let's just go play. And I get pretty frustrated because these guys feast on that. But it's been fun going against them, and I just want to compliment you two guys, football players, because it's a real treat to go against you and then watch you play on Sundays. So let's take it back a little bit. You guys played together at UCLA. You're both from California, different parts of the state. Talk about, starting with you, Anthony, your decision to go to UCLA. I understand you were kind of a running back coming in.
Right.
Just kind of that whole process of picking UCLA from all the other schools you could have gone to.
Yeah, it came down to UCLA, Notre Dame. I had a lot of Notre Dame ties with my father, my uncle. A lot of other family members had gone through there. And I took a visit out there in February, I think. And it was, February in Indiana.
That's a smart time
It was
to take a visit,
snowing. Yeah, it
gather
was
the
snowing, and
information.
it was just ugly, and it was like completely different than anything I had, experienced before.
And Beverly Hills didn't look like that in February.
No, exactly. And I'm like 17, 18, like, damn, I don't know if this is the move for me. It's going to be February. Football's going to be over. I'm going to be stranded out here. So I decided to go to UCLA. It ended up being a easier, more comfortable decision, I think, is really what it came down to. And I could stay close to my family,
Right.
Big family guy. So
Right.
that all played a part in it. And then Coach Newhouse told me I could play running back, and that's where kind of my heart was. And Brian Kelly was like, "Oh, you're gonna be a wide receiver," and I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not gonna be here. I'm gonna go play running
Crazy.
back."
So how did you even end up at linebacker?
Well, we had a coaching change going into my junior year, and we had just come off a terrible season. I think was that the year we went to the bowl game, and we're like the worst team to ever go to like a bowl game.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, it was.
We were like 5 and like
But
8
they
or something.
needed a team
They
to
needed
go,
a team.
so
they
Like half the team was
five-win
like,
team.
we don't want to do this. The other half was like, oh, come on, it'll be fun. And then we ended up getting smoked by I think Illinois. We ended up sending one of their defensive ends going first round because he had like 8
Yeah, right. He had a
sacks
good
on
bowl
something.
game,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Equal to the league.
getting paid.
But anyway, so yeah, we had a coaching change, and we had Coach Moore came in, brought a new staff, and I was just kind of lost in terms of football world. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do, if I still wanted to play, if I wanted to transfer.
Wow.
And so I kind of went to him, and he was telling us we're gonna have a 3-4 defense. You could play outside, you could play the edge, and I'm like, I don't really know what that means, but sure, I'll give it a try. And
Wow.
kind of just evolved from there. I had a lot of help from guys like Eric and other older guys, and then my coach Jeff Olbrich at the time was a really good linebacker coach, and he got me right.
So do you make the NFL if you choose to play running back or receiver?
No, hell no.
You
no
think you're better
chance.
fit at
No,
linebacker?
yeah, no, I would have been out the league by now. 2 years at running back, my size, I would have,
Wow.
it would have been a wrap.
It was crazy to see too, because I feel like when he came at linebacker, like obviously he was very like raw and
Yeah.
new to the position, but I feel like he had no bad habits. So it was like
Gotcha.
when he started picking up things, he started picking them up, and it
The
was
right
like, that was
way.
that was his thing, like to pick up. So it was pretty.
And
cool.
you guys came in together, and you
Yeah.
came in as a linebacker, Eric. You're from Fresno.
Yep.
Got recruited. Were you offered by everybody in the Pac-12 and picked UCLA, or was it kind of different?
No, it was. I had an offer from Fresno State, Washington State. I had looks, Stanford was looking at
Okay.
me, and some other schools, Cal and things like that. But not too much,
Pretty straightforward
yeah.
decision to be a Bruin.
My dad went to UCLA.
Okay.
My brother
Your
was
brother
at
was
Cal.
there.
I didn't
Oh,
really
your
want to go
brother's
to
at Cal,
Cal.
yeah.
I didn't really want to go to Cal. Didn't really want to go to Stanford, and it was just kind of like, I feel like I should go to UCLA. UCLA and Texas were like my 2 dream schools growing up. So really, that's all I needed was that offer, and I was good.
Wow. Well, you come in, so you're playing linebacker, but you redshirt. He plays as a freshman, and then he joins the linebacker room, and you guys basically have been playing together ever since. Pretty cool deal.
Yeah, it's wild. I don't think you can look across the league. There's not many guys that have had that experience. To play so long together and do it at a high level. Especially, and it's just cool because we continue to challenge each other, and I think we kind of feed off of one another. If someone has success, and we want to kind of one up him, but not in a way where it's like envy. It's more like we're always proud of one another. And we always want to see one another do well, but we
Yeah.
always want to push ourselves to be better.
you
Yeah,
guys
we
get back
just
to
elevate.
Cali much in the off season?
Oh yeah, the whole time.
Yeah.
yeah.
This past year, we actually worked out at UCLA, so it was pretty cool to go back
Oh,
there.
okay.
And, they have a brand new facility that
Yeah.
we like to think that we built because
Oh, we did. We didn't get to use it, now. But
Yeah.
you go
Right.
back there and it's like this place, man. This place is crazy.
When I think it was with the Redskins. The years run together, but when we played the Rams one year, we walked through at UCLA
Okay.
and got to see the new facility right there in the center of campus. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that thing is like
It's
I said,
amazing.
It's like TCO. I mean,
Yeah.
they have
Yeah.
all the bells and whistles, and
Yeah.
for college kids, they're so spoiled, and they always still complain.
I say, if you
Still
look
not-
at that
Casey.
campus, how would you not want to go
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
If you're
Well, not only
a
that, I
college
mean, you're
recruit?
right next in Westwood. You're right next to Beverly
that's what I'm
Hills.
saying.
You're not far
Different
from
than
the ocean.
USC, yeah.
Right to the
much
beach.
different.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's just got to win some football games,
The only
They're
catch with the
not doing that right
Bruins
now.
is their stadium is the Rose Bowl, which is 45 minutes away, and they got to bus students there,
True.
and so it makes for a tough
Yeah.
dynamic. Other than that, it's hard to beat.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
So I can't blame you for getting back to California as much as possible. Now let's switch gears. Talk about the game yesterday. I have a lot of respect for Carson Wentz as a quarterback because of his ability to scramble, how strong of an arm he has. The play's never over till it's over. What were your thoughts, game planning going into the game? What you thought you could take away? What you were concerned about, and then kind of your thoughts coming away from the game, how you felt you executed. Eric, I'll start with you.
I feel like you kind of really never know what to expect. I feel like every time we played them in the past, they've always they brought new elements to the game. Different wrinkles that they try to catch you off guard. So we know we got to kind of hold on for a second and just kind of get our bearings. And And I feel like we started fast. We had that 3 and out right off the bat. They tried to run the ball 3 times in a row, and I feel like that was we just set the tone right there. You guys came and scored, and it was I mean, you guys scored before that, I believe. And we stopped them. And
the
you guys,
fast start was huge.
Yeah, it was big time.
Yeah. What'd you think, AB?
Yeah, I mean, they're a dynamic offense. You know, that you look around, they have playmakers on all levels, right? The tight ends are dynamic. You know, he's the best player, you know, Ertz, on offense. But then on the outside, they got Alshon, who's go up and get it. And
right.
then, Nelson going to take the top off the defense. And then the running back, you know, he's a great receiving threat.
Right.
26 and 24, obviously, you know, he's a downhill guy. So, you know, coming in was like stop the run. We got wrap up 24, stop his feet. And then we got to shut down Ertz and, you know, make him throw the ball elsewhere. You know, I think we did that for the most part. You know, slowing down the run and making them kind of one-dimensional, especially when you guys score touchdowns, right, and we get a little bit of a cushion. Team starting to have to throw the ball a little bit. And with our D-line, it's like let them go rush and we'll cover on the back end. And that's the formula really for success for us, I believe, you know. So kind of all just came together. Yeah. And I think it's all coming together at the right time, you know, so it's important to ride this
It was
momentum.
crazy that we were only like we were 4 points apart at one point because I feel like
never felt like
I feel like on the sideline we were just kind of like we just had a thing that we just felt like we had to get it done. You know, we were all out there just you guys going on offense, you guys had a mission. We were going on defense, we had a mission, and it was good to see that we weren't even like really paying attention to the score. It was kind of like we were playing against ourselves. You know what I mean?
I think in years past we would have panicked in that situation, right? We had a 21-point lead down to 4, and now you start getting a little tight, right? But it didn't feel that way. You know, it felt like we was in control the whole game, and they had some big plays, and you know that's going to happen in this league. You know,
right?
But if you know we limit those, we're going to be in.
Well, usually I know with our defense, if we can get about 30 points on the board, we're going to be just fine. And some games a lot less. I remember we were out at
usually we're going to hold it down.
We were going out at halftime of a game last year, and Barr says to me as we're walking out, he said, "You score 1 touchdown, we win this game."
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and that's true. You know, in some of the games we have, and so. You know, I take great comfort in that. But to talk about, so Mackenzie Alexander gets an interception, and we run down to celebrate in the end zone, which I'm all for. As you know, I'm pretty good with corny celebrations. But I'm watching on the board later when they do a replay in slow motion, and EK jumps into a handstand, which is outstanding. Talk about that. Was that spur of the moment? Were you like, hey, man, I'm doing a handstand if anything happens today?
Honestly, I had different celebrations that I had in my head, and I didn't do any of them. Like, they didn't even cross my mind.
Pocket?
They didn't cross my mind at all. So, like, that was completely spur of the moment. I don't know why I did it.
Perfect.
I just did it.
I couldn't even concentrate on my celebration. I was looking at you like,
it was
damn,
perfect.
what is he doing over there? That's crazy.
So speaking of Mackenzie's interception, how many almost interceptions have you two had this year, man? I feel like this year especially, you guys have been around the ball a lot.
You know,
You're due.
Yeah, you know,
they're gonna come though. We're in position though. We're in position.
We're not trying to force anything. You know, if it happens, it happens. Obviously, those are plays that we can make, and we believe that we got to make them. Like,
what I love is the one that AB had yesterday on the in cut. You know, many times as a quarterback, what I'll do is I'll see AB there as the hook defender, and so I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to bait him to take this running back out of the backfield or this whatever route sitting down in zone, and then I'm going to give my shoulders there. I'm going to fire that in cut right off his ear the other way. And to you guys' credit, what I was kind of alluding to earlier in the podcast was you guys don't give me that. Younger linebackers do, other linebackers do, but you guys are pretty aware that he's going to do that. And so I'm going to kind of bait the quarterback to do that. And then I saw you do that basically as you're like, I'm going to kind of tease him to think he has that in cut. And then you dove for it. And I thought that's Anthony Barr being Anthony Barr right there.
I mean, it's kind of one of the spread routes. You know, Ertz at 2, he's going to try and bend behind you and hit the seam. So it was just. But then later in the game, later in the drive, I think he kind of messed with me where he ran a dig and out. Kind of pivoted on me when Carson started rolling out to the left, and then he banged his route. I think it was like 4th and 14. So that ticked me off. But it's going to happen. They're good players.
You guys were talking about the fact that the lead was cut to 24-20, and Eric, I think you made the key defensive play. It was a 3rd and 2. The Eagles had the ball on your 21-yard line and went to a short pass to Jeffrey, and you just blew that play up and forced them to settle for a field goal. That was huge because the Vikings then took the ball and went right down the field and scored. So if you could remember what you saw about that play and what the call was.
But we had seen that formation.
We had saw it once earlier in the game, and they kind of I don't know if they dressed it up a little differently or they might have. It was
very similar. Him at wide at 1 and motion down to the cluster.
It was wide cluster, and it was distinctive because it was a little bit wider. Sometimes clusters are in the hat, so everyone can break out in their routes and they have a little bit of space. But this one was a little bit wide. And
that's how a lot of teams try to attack us on 3rd down. They see us in they see us in split and the double A gap look. and their answers to throw the wide receiver screen. Just it's a long way for us to travel to get there, you know, and that's kind of the idea. But we weren't in that formation, but they just, I guess,
That was
caught
a
that
huge
And I
pass.
got,
play,
I got a
man.
tip. I got a tip from Harry. Shout out to Harry. You know, we always give alerts like that. You know, and sometimes they're vital like that. So when he gave me that tip, I just seen the formation and I was like, yeah, he's right. Like this is exactly what it is.
Anthony, I was down on the field right to do my little halftime bit I do with Ben Lieber, and while we were on the field getting ready for the 2-minute warning, there was a running play, I think, and you just blew up a offensive lineman, and Lieber looked at me and went, "Man, that guy's strong." You're talking about you.
Yeah.
I mean, you just blew him up. I mean, is that something you take a lot of pride into, your physical strength along with your durability, of course, but more importantly, that you don't see that very often.
Yeah, I have a hard time remembering that play, honestly.
That's okay. It was there.
They all kind of just mush into one, you know,
hitting
at a
on-
certain point. I haven't
But
watched the
hitting
tape.
just talking about more
See, I got
your
my
physical
thing.
strength.
But
and
yeah,
all that.
I mean, I don't think I'm any stronger than the average NFL player. You know, it's just
Really?
kind of using your
Leverage.
body in a certain way, and I think just attacking and, you know, good things happen when you're aggressive. You know, so I don't think I'm, you know, I wouldn't say I'm the big
Yeah.
bad strong dude, but you know, I can hold my own.
What I love about these guys is you can hear when they talk how much of a thinking man's game it is. I mean, they understand route combinations, they understand percentages, formation tells, where they need to be in spacing, and then playing in Coach Zimmer's defense now for 4, 5, 6 years together, there's an ability to know what should be done, unspoken, you know, in the crowd noise, they can make sure everybody's lined up, get to the right spots. There's a continuity there that's fun to watch that not every NFL team can claim. And then you also, in telling, you know, this guy's a former running back, this guy played 3 high school sports, was a shortstop. They're not just big, strong, fast, they're athletes. And when I go against Eric in practice, he plays the middle linebacker position like a shortstop. You know, he has a feel, he has a sense of the ball. He can, you know, when I say I can sneak that over his head, he's not going to tip it. He takes one more step and tips it. And so it's a frustrating thing to go against, but it's fun. And at one point, you know, our quarterback coach, Clint Kubiak, in about May or June, came over to me, maybe in a meeting or after practice, and he said, "Is this Eric Kendricks guy as good as he's been these first few weeks I've been here?" And I said, "Oh yeah, he's the real deal. Wait till you see." I say he's kind of underrated. People don't realize how much ground he covers, how fast he is. So he's a favorite player of mine. No disrespect to AB, but EK is probably my favorite player on the defense.
That's nice, man. That made me feel good.
You got a chance to blitz a little bit too.
Man, yeah,
That
I got
was-
dialed up yesterday a little bit.
Yeah,
You know, I won one, lost a few. You know, but hey, you know, it was a good call, man. When me and Mackenzie got the sack, it was a good call and it was a lot of fun.
Well, speaking of blitzes and sacks, talk about what you're doing this month of October for every sack the Vikings
Man,
get.
Sacktober, every sack the Vikings get cumulative. We donate to Sheridan Story, which is they provide meals for children all over Minneapolis. You know, these children just can sign up, no requirements. You know, if they need the food, they can sign up, and it shows up in their locker, and then they take the food home on the weekend. So I think it's an awesome thing and
Wow.
easy for us to contribute. You know, without really doing much, but using our platform. You know.
Well, I can contribute by getting us a lead so that they can rush
So we
the
can
passer.
get our ears back,
Coach
know?
Zimmer can contribute to the kids by calling some blitzes. So we're all in this together trying to help the kids eat.
It's really cool that a couple of California guys have really got immersed in the Twin Cities community. Both of you have, with both kind of initiatives you've done. So how have you taken to the Twin City area? I mean, and been accepted and use your own profile to further your own cause. Anthony, I know you've done Raising the Bar, which is a really important issue for you, an important initiative for you.
Yeah, so I mean, let's talk about Raise the Bar quick. You know, it's something started by my mother and I. She was a single parent, raised me as a single mom, my brother and I. So our whole thing is trying to educate these single moms and allowing them to pursue their education. And provide some type of childcare while they're out doing that. Just because, I had a great support system when I was growing up with my grandparents, and my mom could go out and do her thing, and I'd be at the house, and I'd be taken care of. But there's so many people that don't have that luxury. They don't have the grandparents, they don't have the extended family to kind of watch the kids. So we try to bridge that gap, and it's been pretty cool so far. In terms of Twin Cities, it's been an awesome experience. I had the option to go elsewhere this offseason.
You sure have.
This is home, man, and everyone's been Other than the drivers are so slow, I can't. It's crazy.
That's
Coming back from
outstanding.
LA,
I
man, it's
love
just
it.
like, damn, the 55
lanes,
mile per
2
hour
lanes.
speed limit killing me.
He is from LA.
Construction.
We did a
Yeah,
walkthrough at his high school when we played the Rams, and it is right there. I mean, you can see the LA skyline from the high school. So he is from LA.
Well, they have that new law now. If you're not going fast enough in the left lane, you're supposed to move
Supposed
over to the
yeah,
right lane,
but
Anthony.
still,
So
right.
They don't
it
do
still
it.
drives me crazy, man.
Yeah, I get
But
it.
Other than that, man, I like the Twin Cities. Man.
Bar, I'm gonna keep the apologies going this week and apologize for my Midwestern friends. I'm sorry
Thank you,
on
man.
behalf of my
Appreciate it,
Midwestern
bro. Yeah,
friends.
Y'all need to speed it up out there, man. Damn.
Well, thanks so much, guys. We'll cut to a break and then come back and talk a little more about your background.
And welcome back to Under Center with Kirk Cousins, Mark Rosen, along with the Vikings quarterback, along with Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks. A very entertaining, informative interview. And
No doubt.
Yeah, absolutely, Kirk. So let's take it, run with it again.
Yeah, so you guys this offseason traveled together. Obviously, you guys spent a lot of time together. You go way back. But traveled to, let's see, Rome, Japan, Amsterdam. Talk about that trip. What inspired it? How long it was? What kind of stuff you guys did?
So I feel like one of my buddies was like, his his first time ever leaving the country, and I think it was something.
For work related, wasn't
Yeah, it was work related,
Yeah.
and he was going to Amsterdam. So he was like, "Hey, I'm booking a ticket. Like, this is my first time out of the country. If anybody wants to join me, join me." Like, and we were just kind of like, the hardest part about traveling anywhere is literally booking the ticket. Like, that's just the hardest part. And he had everything set up, where we were gonna stay and stuff like that. So we went there, and then from there we went to Rome. And it was like,
So different, like the dynamics
Wow.
of the two play. Like Amsterdam is just boom, boom, hustle and bustle, so many people and craziness, madness, and then you go to Rome, it's just like laid back and chill.
Yeah, the Italians are a little
yeah,
different.
it was-
they wake up
Just like
at-
their cars.
Yeah, exactly. They wake up at noon. They don't eat till 10 p.m. It's just
Right.
like, man, this
Culture.
is the life right here.
The food is so
Yeah.
good,
Man,
though.
what?
Oh,
I mean-
never eat pasta again after
So
going
did you
to
have a
Italy.
favorite city, favorite place? They all kind of
Rome
good
was
in their
hard
own
to beat.
way.
Like, I gotta go back. Like, honestly,
Rome
like,
was awesome. I wasn't there long enough. I think we
Okay.
were there like a week or 5 days.
I feel the
but
same way.
The experience.
Wow.
There's so much more.
Did you see the history in terms of the Colosseum?
Yeah, we took
and-
a Coliseum. We took a tour one day, so we saw everything: the Trevi Fountain, the Spanish.
Wow.
one thing I recommend, like when we first went there, we first of all we ran into these amazing people who like everything was closed and they literally cooked us a meal like themselves.
Wow.
We
And
landed at like midnight, and it was in Rome at midnight. Everything shut down, but we were trying to find some food, and it was just like this little mom and pop like type shop. They
That's
just
pretty cool.
opened up, and they just welcomed us
And they-
open arms. It was super cool.
They drew us a map to the where we should, because they told us we said, hey, we recommend you guys go at night and see all the Coliseum and the steps and everything like that.
Wow.
So we went out that night and we just walked around and it was like all these things you see in the history books, but it was at night
It was
and it's
cool,
all lit
yeah.
up very
And
well.
nobody was there,
and
so
it
it was
was
just us.
I mean, that was
It
the
was
best. That was like the best intro.
But it was
to,
so
like,
different because Amsterdam, my first experience
Mm-hmm.
in Amsterdam, we get there, we hop off the, we took an Uber from the airport till we're staying at Airbnb, and we hop out the Airbnb, and I'm kind of just like looking around. I don't really know where, like trying to get my bearings right, and I have my bag, sit them down, and there's a sidewalk. Like imagine this is the car, this is where I get out, and then this is in the whole other part of the sidewalk, and there's a woman walking like right behind me, and I feel like a presence. I kind of look back, and she just looks at me, gives me an angry face. I'm like, "What's up? Like, can I help you?" And she's like, "Go back to your own country." I'm like,
Wow.
"What? Damn,
Really?
Yeah,
That was
right
your
off the
first-
my first experience with
And
a
we were just
person.
like,
I'm like, "Oh, this is how
whoa.
this gonna go, man." Damn, like we chose the wrong place to come to. But other than that, like
Yeah,
it was all
great.
good
It was-
after that.
Yeah, it was great. But
And where else did you go? Amsterdam, Rome.
And then we went to Japan.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
quite a culture shock.
How many total? 2 weeks?
No, that was two different trips.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
different
yeah,
we
yeah,
went
yeah.
to
Broke it
Amsterdam, Rome, came
Broke it
home, and then we went back to, and like the beginning of April, I think we went to Tokyo.
Will you continue next off season with more travel? Is it
Yeah.
worth
Oh,
yeah.
to keep doing it?
Absolutely, that's the plan.
Great.
It shows that we're not all that different, man. we're all similar. We just want to be loved and loved.
That's
and,
awesome.
You know,
Do you have a certain destination in mind, or you're just going to kind of play it by ear?
I usually let him and his girl handle it because they're
Yeah.
the planners. I just show up
There
by
you
my
go.
seat,
That
you know what I'm
makes it
saying? I
easy.
just tag along. Yeah, I'm like their little child.
What you need to do when you travel, because when I went to the UK with the NFL to promote, the game, they're trying to grow stuff, so they invited me over there to do some promotional stuff. Met a guy who said, "I know the CEO of Aston Martin, and so if you want to get in a cab, you can go out an hour and a half outside the city to their headquarters, their world headquarters, and they'll tour you around. You can sit in the DB11, see the factory, see their SUV they're coming out with in a couple of years, like behind the curtain.
That's dope.
And so if you get to Italy or some of those places again, what you should do is go check out. I know you're a gearhead. You should go check out some of those cars.
Definitely. That's a great idea.
Yeah,
I think
when you go to Italy, I mean, go see Ferrari's
I think
headquarters.
I'm gonna do
Yeah.
that. Like,
Yeah.
100%. I know you said.
Yeah.
Every time we go out of the country, we try to see like a international football game.
There you go.
Soccer game.
Yeah,
but, you
yeah.
know, so, we've seen a couple, and it's
It was
been
in
awesome.
Amsterdam. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, when I was out there as well, I went to an Arsenal game. It's pretty fun to see. But talk about your love for cars, Eric. Talk about the story about your grandpa with the Dodge Viper and how you've kind of refurbished that, and just in general your love for test driving them and different things like that.
Yeah, I feel like it started out with Hot Wheels. At a super
Where it always
young age.
begins.
I had them all over my room, stepping on them and everything like that. And I don't know. I've always loved cars. Like every time they drove by the street, I always run out to the street.
There's something about it. My son is 2 years old, and he sees a truck or a bus, and he goes crazy.
Truck,
it's
bus,
like
train,
wired inside of
Something
him.
in
I
their
didn't
DNA.
tell him to be that way.
It just is.
It's
no,
great,
you don't
man.
have to. No.
And then I feel like there's not much things that make me feel that way, honestly. And it's hard. It's a weird, some people don't get it, but
passion.
yeah, exactly. It's not up to them. But
So
yeah.
the Viper is something it's an ongoing project.
It's a
You basically
1995
inherited it, right?
Grandpa. It's my grandpa's Viper, and I'm just gonna take care of it forever. I'm just gonna hold on to it and just I keep it pretty original, and just fix things here and there, and just cruise it.
Death on Wheels.
Cruise it.
Safe to say it's not in Minneapolis.
Oh, it is.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It's here. You're not going to drive it. In the
He's probably not
wintertime.
taking it out in the
No,
snow,
I'm
but
saying
on
no.
a nice day.
I'm gonna just keep getting some more things fixed up on it, and just keep taking care of it a little bit.
Yeah, it's a labor of love, I'm sure. And then, Barb, I got to talk about this. I'm walking down the hallway today to come in here to do this podcast, and I hear the whistling, and I said, it's got to be Bar. I turned around, sure enough, it is. You're really good at whistling, and you're pretty consistent at it. I mean, I'll be washing my hands in the bathroom and hearing the shower.
Yeah, my grandma. So I grew up with my grandparents. Like I said, and my grandmother, she is a big Catholic, and church songs is just she would whistle the church songs when she cleaning, when she cooking, whenever. And so I kind of just picked up on it, and I can't help it. I don't even try to do it.
Yeah, no, you don't. I think it just comes out of you.
I knew he was coming down the hallway because I heard him whistle. I heard whistle.
It's like
Well,
a blessing and a curse.
Big Bad Bar, the 200 and whatever pound, 50-pound linebacker who's running over people for safeties, and then he's a whistler. It's just it doesn't fit, but it does at the same time.
It's relaxing.
Can we get the Vikings fight song or the UCLA fight song?
I got something else for you. I'm gonna do I just watched Aladdin last night.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
The new one or
perfect.
the old one?
The new one, Will Smith.
Okay, yeah,
it
Will
was
Smith.
okay. It was good. I enjoyed it. Jasmine is, what I'm saying.
Real.
All right. Don't look at me. It makes me nervous.
Disney needs to hire that guy. He could be in the next Zippity Doo
He has like a little flutter to it too.
He had it.
He like plays with
He
it a
had
little
that.
bit.
I haven't heard that since I heard Zippity Doo Dah.
You take your
Zippity-doo.
quest
See, that's
all the
what I
time?
watch too. Zippity-doo all the time, bro. Oh my gosh, that's
Thought it'd
crazy.
be your race
Raised on.
VHS, yeah.
That was your Hot Wheels.
Absolutely.
That was it.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Sweet.
So, getting back to football, we got the Lions this week. They play the Packers tonight. We were recording this on Monday, so we don't know the outcome yet. But talk about you guys going against the Lions a lot, far more than I have. I've played them 2 or 3 times. But talk about going against their offense, Matthew Stafford, some of the personnel they have, and just obviously it's early in the week, but your impressions of playing there at Ford Field and that opponent.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly haven't watched too much of them this year yet. But from everything I'm reading and hearing, they're much improved as a football team all around. Obviously Matt Stafford's going to gunsling that ball.
Sling it.
That's what he does.
Per usual.
One of my favorite quarterbacks to play against, just because he's a competitor and he throws the rock and he takes a beating sometimes. And every time we played him, we hit him pretty good. And I
Yes.
think there's been multiple years we've had 8, 9, 10 sacks against him. So he knows what kind of day it's going to be, and he stands in there and still plays hard. I know the running back Kerryon Johnson. I think he's having a solid year, and then Galloway I think is their number one. So and they have a new tight end they got, I think, from Iowa. The first rounder, right? And he's been playing pretty well as far as I'm concerned. So another team that has multi-dimensional, like all 3 levels where they can beat you.
Come after you,
So
yeah.
it's going to be important for us, obviously, to slow down the run as always, and then put our ears back and try to hit the quarterback.
Now, both of you guys had the green dot on your helmet, correct?
He had, we can only have one, but
You can only have one. It's on the field.
When I haven't played, he picks
Okay.
it up. Yeah.
So talk about is it Coach Zimmer in your head?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Talk about that conversation, that one-way conversation for 3 hours. What that can be like.
I mean, I think we've had different experiences. I started it when I was a rookie.
In 14, they gave you the green dot.
14. Well, Chad got hurt one game, so I had to wear it for the Saints game, I think, and that was my second game ever. And I was trying to communicate the defense to these grown men that didn't care about me at all, right? They didn't know me yet, right? But it made me better. But now it's like Coach Zim, he gets fired up when they call plays, especially on third downs when it's loud, and he kind of tries to get the perfect call sometimes, and it just comes out like we're super wrong. But I know what he's trying to say.
Yeah, you piece it together.
After a certain amount of time, listen to it, like I get the gist of it. I think it's more difficult for when you just start, like when Eric has had past experiences, and it's just like, he doesn't really know. I'll let you speak on it, but I know it could be it's confusing because he's trying to say something that's not exactly what it should be.
I mean, he's literally calling defense, so I feel like you just hear him think sometimes. You know what I mean? So
He's thinking out loud.
Yeah. So, like he said, you got to be able to piece that together. You got to be able to and that's
and everyone's looking at you for the call. Like, what's the call? And I'm like, bro, I don't got it yet. Give me a second.
When we're playing well, it's loud, it's rocking. It's hard, and that's the first issue is like I'm just like trying to hear him. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to hear the call, and then it's like you hear like. If you hear spots of it, then you have to like kind of piece it together because it's so loud. And I feel like when I first get the thing, it's like it takes me a little bit to adjust to it. But then I usually like.
So do you ever go rogue? Do you ever say like?
There's times when
let's go double A, let's go 3J.
Hurrying up, and
that's
it's like we got to get on the ball. It's like, okay, well, here's our call. That's what we're gonna ride with, and we'll live or die.
That's another thing that you got to know when to do that. You got to know when to maybe get the call last minute, or you got to know when to be like, no, this is what we got to just get in. We got to just get
That's a great
lined
point.
up.
See, I never think about that from the offensive perspective. We control the tempo a little bit more. We can't go until we snap the ball. Obviously, the play headset cuts out at 15 seconds on the play clock, so there's somewhat of a sense of urgency, and if I don't get it by 15 seconds, I got to call my own play. But I never thought about as a linebacker, you're at the mercy of the offense, and so you have to be somewhat reactionary, which is interesting.
I don't think people even knew that at 15 seconds it cuts out.
I think yours lasts a little longer.
That's why I yelled at I yelled at Kevin yesterday at the end of the game. We were in 4 minutes trying to run the clock out, and they were talking forever about how to run the ball against these loaded boxes. Essentially, it was cover zero every play. And they were trying to think of the best run possible. Well, they talked for so long and deliberated with each other that I never got to play. So I just ended up running the line of scrimmage and calling the best play I could think of, and we ended up calling timeout so we didn't get a delay game. And then I screamed at him, "Give me the play before 15 seconds!" And then Kevin, in his calm demeanor as always, comes over. He says, "It's okay, calm down. No, we're good.
We got this.
We're just talking."
Usually when he gets the call, I'm just like facing the offense, so it's like
we have a good dynamic. Like I'll get the call and he'll set the defense.
So
and that's special. Like the ability for these guys to go back to their freshman year of college, playing together, two great players who have been out there every down. Pretty special to have that kind of relationship where they can go play off each other.
And Harry's giving the personnels, and it's just everybody's
which
again,
group. Huge help that he says, I'm going to take a little bit less, come back to the Vikings, and keep this thing going because continuity is a huge part of success in this league. And what they've had on defense now for several years is very rare, and it's been pretty special to be a part of. And hopefully we can keep it together for years to come because, the production shows, what it's meant.
We want to thank Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks for stopping by.
Great job, guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks for whistling. Thanks for all that. And thanks for the handstand. And I don't know, who knows what's coming up next week. We'll be back with more with Under Center with Kirk Cousins right after this.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
And welcome back to Under Center with Kirk Cousins, Mark Rosen alongside, and our favorite time of the program. We get some phone calls from our listeners, so let's go check them.
Hey guys, great team win last week. It was awesome, great time, good game to watch. My question is, what are some of the things that you guys can do outside of the football field, outside of practice together? What do you guys do outside of work for fun? Thanks, and Skol.
That's a great question. We do far more in the off season than in season because in season it just is so demanding that when we leave the building, we're kind of ready to just go home and sleep and catch our breath. But there were guys in a bowling league last year who bowled together. Barr and Kendricks, as we talked about, traveled together in the off season internationally. We have a team Bible study on Monday nights where we get together with a handful of teammates and connect with our wives and our teammates. So that's a good time. Occasionally, like Adam Thielen has a golf simulator at his house, so I'll go over there and hit golf balls with him. So we try to find time to do things where we can get away. I think the younger players, many times they live near each other or are roommates, and so they'll do more together. The O-line kind of has their clique, and they do things together as well. So we go out to eat a lot on the road. When we get into town on a Saturday afternoon, we all get in an Uber and drive to a local restaurant wherever we are, and usually a group of 10 to 15 to 20 of us will sit down and break bread together. So that's always a fun time as well. And it's a great locker room, a great group of guys. And I wish that when the offseason hit, we didn't all go our separate ways, because if it was like the olden days, if you will, when guys stayed here year round, we probably would spend even more time together.
Well, it is like any other business, really. You see each other for 8 to 10 hours a day, and then you got your lives. And
that's true. A big part of the football locker room is we're spending time together all day. So at the end of the day, you're not really dying to spend more time together. You've been together all day long, and players who retire do say that that's the number one thing they miss is the time with their teammates. Even if it means around work, that time together is still special.
Great call. Let's go to our next one.
Hi, this is Connor from St. Paul, and I had a quick question. As a quarterback and as one of the leaders on the football team, I was wondering what your interactions are like with the other veterans and leaders on the football team. Do you guys have captain meetings, or what does that look like, and how does each individual leader's leadership style play into how the whole team chemistry works? All right, thanks. Bye.
Yeah, Coach Zimmer has selected 6 captains, and so those 6 players will meet with him on a semi-regular basis, off-season and in-season, to talk about on-field issues, off-field issues, even community events, how we want to do things in the community. So that's kind of the liaison between the coaching staff and the players are those 6 captains. And that's, you wear the C on your chest, on your jersey on game day, so you're identified as a captain and you go out to the coin toss. But it's really the moments in between those coin tosses that are so important as to how you help lead the football team and drive the culture. So those 6 guys really are those leaders. And thankfully, around here, it's been a pretty consistent group because players have stayed and been here. And so it is the Anthony Barrs, the Riley Reefs. It's not a revolving door like some places may have.
All right, let's go to our final caller.
Yes, my name is Terry Evenson. I'm calling from North Dakota. I believe the recipe for success for the Vikings this year will depend upon each one's attitude of helping one another out and helping one another find success. As the quarterback can move in a pocket, he'll be helping his offensive line overcome maybe a stronger defensive line that they're facing. And I believe that formula for success will help them for the rest of the season. Captain Kirk, we're behind you 100%, and you can be the champion you were meant to be. God bless you.
Well, it's a great call. With that call, I'll say 2 coaching points I took from that. Keep your attitude strong, and don't be afraid to move around a little bit and help out your O-line. So I'll take that to heart going forward and appreciate the call.
Well, full disclosure, we are taping this show before the Lions-Packers game, which was Monday night. So we don't know the specifics of what happened in the game. I could predict one, but I'm not going to do that, Kirk. I'm not going to rub my temples together. But you're going to Detroit. You said you haven't played them all that often, but they're hyped up in Detroit. This is a big year, potential year for the Lions, and you got to win a divisional game. It's about time.
No, I think by all indications the Lions are the real deal this year. They've always had a great quarterback. They've been very productive on offense. I think their defense has always also been fairly solid, but Coach Patricia now in his second year, I think he's getting the system and the players that he wants in there, and it's showing in terms of the results. I think it'll be a tremendous challenge, especially on the road. And growing up in West Michigan, for me, this game always carries some extra meaning just because the Lions were the team on TV when I was growing up on Sunday afternoon. And when I was in high school, the dream was to play in the state championship game at Ford Field. I didn't get to live that dream in high school, but every time we go back there and play at Ford Field, I always take a moment and think about how, in high school, if I had been told, hey, you may not play at Ford Field in a state championship game, but you're going to play there multiple times as an NFL player, I would have said, I don't believe you. How could that be? And so I get to live a dream going back home and playing in front of essentially my hometown, whether on TV or a lot of people are driving over. So it's a special deal for me to go back there.
The next game always becomes the most important game. This is an opportunity for the Vikings to, as they say, string together some wins before you come back home again and play Washington, your old team, the following Thursday.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. If you want to get to the playoffs, you've got to go on a streak. You can't be win, loss, or every time you go on the road, lose, and every time you're at home, win. That's not going to get you to the playoffs. You have to, against a really good football team in a really tough environment, go in there and get a win one way or another, low scoring, high scoring, whatever it may be. All the same things apply as they always do, converting third downs, running the football well, protecting the football, converting touchdowns in the red zone. Those are the ways you win. It's no secret. And, we got a great opportunity this Sunday to steal one on the road and then come back home. And, hopefully we can put this thing together and get the snowball rolling down the hill.
Well, best of luck on Sunday against the Lions, and we'll be back, of course, again next Tuesday night right here under center with Kirk Cousins. Have a good night, everyone.